So, MyFitnessPal have made the absolutely terrible business decision to make their barcode scanner a premium only feature. And because of that, I'm pretty sure some of you, a lot of you, are going to be looking for a new calorie and macro tracking app. So I thought it would be the perfect time to give you the pros and cons of MacroFactor, which I have now personally been using for 3 or 4 months. MyFitnessPal are clearly doing this out of financial difficulty, and they think that they can bump up their subscriptions by putting one of their primary features in it. But do you really think a good way to keep your user base happy is to make a key feature something you have to pay for after it being free for years and years and years? I think they are just going to piss people off and encourage people to go elsewhere. The only reason MyFitnessPal have kept right at the top of calorie tracking apps for so long is because it's the one that everyone uses. It's comfortable. We've been using it for years and years and years. All of our meals and recipes are logged on there. But we know it's pretty shit. We know there's more out there. It's just not worth the hassle to switch over. But now with this decision, I think so many more people are going to be inclined to make the change. I think they are digging their own grave, unfortunately. So with this change coming to MyFitnessPal's barcode scanner in October, I wanted to run you through the pros and the cons of MacroFactor and explain just why you might want to consider switching over. Make sure you hit the top link in my description to learn more about my online coaching with Progressive Physique Coaching, and make sure to subscribe to the channel, and then we can look at the pros. So the first thing about MacroFactor is it's not just a tracker, it is also a coach. The app is a coach for you, and I am an experienced coach myself. I have years and years worth of experience working with athletes in the gym and online, but it's still super nice to just be told what to do. I don't have to sit and think and overthink, let's be honest, whether I should increase my calories by 50 or 100 or decrease my calories or whatever. I don't have to sit and double think myself and question myself. The app just pops up and it tells you, okay, do this. Each Monday you have your check-in. It will simply say add 100 calories, add 50 calories. It will automatically do that for you, and it will then adjust your macros to go along with that. No thinking required, it's just so simple. The next pro to MacroFactor is the adaptive expenditure algorithm. It is amazing. It basically takes your daily weights, if you track your weight every day, or however often you do track your weight, and it also takes your calorie intake. It looks at those two things and gets a super accurate estimate. It's still an estimate, but a super accurate estimate of your daily energy expenditure, and it will go up and down. It will show you exactly where the changes are, so you can see your NEAT, your non-exercise activity changes all the time in real time. It's amazing. When you start a diet, it starts pretty flat, and then for me anyway, I see it drop off quite a lot. Then when I start gaining, I see it start to go up as my expenditure goes up. It's really cool, and again, it just takes away any of that thinking, and you pretty much know where your maintenance is sitting around at all times, which is amazing because it really just shows you how much your maintenance calories can actually fluctuate. Everyone knows they fluctuate by 100-200 calories, but some people are super adaptive, and this just really allows you to see that. Like I touched on earlier, the weekly check-ins are extremely simple. You don't have to do anything, you just do your normal calorie and weight logging, and then each Monday you press check-in, it pops up with what to do, it automatically adjusts your macros and your calories for you. No need to talk to a natural person, no need to pay any extra money, it's just all there for you. It's so simple. The next pro is that there is so much control over how you want to be progressing with your weight, and also there are limits in place to stop you doing anything too stupid. So if you want to maintain, you can do that, that's easy. If you want to gain weight, if you're in a massing phase, you can do that, and then you've got a slider that lets you gain weight really fast or really slow. However, you can only go so slow or so fast. So there's a huge range, but it will stop you from doing anything absolutely ridiculous, like trying to gain 0.00001 pound per week or anything like that. But you can still go super slow or super fast based on your preferences. The same goes with losing weight, super fast, super slow, but it will put those limits in place to stop you doing anything just ridiculous. It also gives you an estimate of where your calories will be starting at as you move the slider around. So if you see that you want to lose 1% per week of weight, for example, but you don't like how those calories are looking, you can then bump it up to 0.5% per week and see if it is worth the trade-off of a slower diet to get more food and vice versa. So I think that's a really, really cool feature. The next pro is the amount of control that you have over your calories and macros. Not only can you set your own macro and calorie targets if you wish, but you can adjust them day to day to create a macro or calorie cycling approach. So for example, if the app tells you should be eating 2,000 calories a day, you can do that, or you can break it down into 14,000 calories a week and have 1,800 one day, 2,200 the next day. You can have higher days, lower days. You can have high carb days, low carb days, high fat days, low protein days for some reason. Whatever you want to do, you can do that and set it as a weekly schedule. So you just set it and forget it. So for example, if you like to have a bit of a big one on the weekends, you can take away from your calories during the week and funnel those calories into the weekends, and that is an element of control that you don't often see in apps, so that is absolutely amazing. Also, it is so easy to track and input your food, and there are so many ways to do it. You've got the barcode scanner, like we discussed with MyFitnessPal, and you've got the search function, which has a pretty decent database. But then alongside that, it has so many other options, which I've got written down here. So you've got the search function, you've got the barcode function, you've got the quick add function, which is based on things you've had before. You've got a pattern sort of ad. So if the app knows that every sort of 10 a.m. you eat this thing, if you then open the app at 10 a.m, it recommends that you put in that thing, because the app knows that we're all sad no-lifers that go to the gym and eat the same thing every day. You've also got the AI describe, which is just crazy. You can literally say into your phone, I had a steak and broccoli, and it will track steak and broccoli. Obviously that's not very accurate compared to weighing it out, but it's more accurate than not tracking anything, so that is super cool. And then you've also got custom foods and recipes, so you can create your own foods and recipes just like you're probably used to doing in MyFitnessPal, and then you can add those in whenever using the other methods that we discussed. That is really good. And another pro to MacroFactor is just that the aesthetic is really cool. It looks so much more professional than MyFitnessPal. And when you're using something 3, 4, 5 times a day, like us fitness folk are, the aesthetic, it does matter. It really does. But with the pros discussed, it is now time to move on to the cons. And yes, there are definitely some cons. It is not all sunshine and rainbows. And the first thing being that it's a paid app. And the fact it costs money, that's a con. But if you're going to be spending money on a food tracking app, like you probably will have to if you want to use MyFitnessPal now, because who doesn't use the bar scanner app for everything, make it MacroFactor, because it is the best and most worth it app in terms of calorie tracking to pay for ever, if that makes sense. Another con is that you can't pre-plan out your phases. I personally like to map out the next 6-12 months worth of diet. So I like to know if I'm going to be in a cut here, a bulk here, a maintenance phase here. And it'd be really cool if you could have a sort of calendar that you map out, and then you can sort of see where your calories will be at the start of each phase, the end of each phase, based on estimations obviously, but then you can know that in a week's time you're starting a cut and it's likely your starting calories are going to be this amount. You can then put together a rough idea of the food that you want to get in for the shopping or whatever it may be for that phase. It's not a huge thing, but it would be a really cool element for them to add. And the last con, yes, there was only 3 of them, is that the energy expenditure algorithm can be a little bit too slow to catch up in my experience. However, I have a very adaptive metabolism, so when I'm cutting, my NEAT drops right down. When I'm bulking, my NEAT goes up massively, which you can probably tell I'm bulking right now because I'm waving my hands all over the place. But what I have noticed is that when I went from a calorie deficit to a maintenance phase to a bulking phase, the expenditure model based on my calorie intake and my weigh-ins was too slow to catch up, so I followed it verbatim because I just wanted to do so to get that experience. And it meant that for the first few weeks of my bulking phase, I was actually in a calorie deficit. And that isn't ideal, obviously, But because I know that about myself, I can then go in and adjust that. So it's not the end of the world, but it would be nice if the calorie expenditure model could adjust a little bit faster for those transitionary phases. I'm not sure how they would do that, but there we go. So those are the pros and the cons of using MacroFactor in my personal experience after 3 to 4 months of using it. I've used it for maintenance on deloads, I've used it for a massing phase, and I've used it for a mini cut, and it's been amazing for all of them. It is so much better than MyFitnessPal, and now that I think that you can't really use MyFitnessPal for free anymore, or the fact that it's just not worth using for free anymore because the app is going so downhill. They're now putting big full screen ads, banner ads, autoplay videos. You have to pay for the barcode scanner. It's just rubbish. So if you are going to be paying money for a calorie tracking app, make it MacroFactor, because I personally think it is so much better. If you have any questions about the usability of MacroFactor, drop them in the comments and I'm more than happy to help and answer and stuff like that. But the thing is, I'm going to be paying for this. I'm going to be renewing my subscription. So that pretty much tells you, is it worth it? Well, I'm paying for it, so I think it is. Hit the top link in my description for information on my online coaching company, Progressive Physique Coaching. You can find out how to work with us and what we can do for you. If you have any questions about that, you can also email me directly, ashmaypt@gmail.com. Thank you as always for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and until the next one, see you later, guys.